scoured the internet and found what you had to say. And now, I shall expose you.
Hello beautiful people, I'm the Luschmaster. Welcome to my channel. Oh yeah, of course. Subscribe. This is everything you had to say about Penny from The Big Bang Theory. I love Penny's relationship with Sheldon. I love that Penny grew to being more than just another hot girl on a show. She pays her own way in this world. Penny may not be educated, but that isn't to say she isn't smart. Like, she may never understand the workings and significance of the Higgs boson, but she's managed to give even Sheldon pause with her wit and logic. What a white trash upbringing lacks in scientific book learning, it makes up for in street smarts and social competency. Two things that Leonard, Sheldon, Raj, and Howard all lack. As for her slutty party girl ways, that wouldn't really bug me because I'm not one of those friend zone types that insists all girls remain pure until he comes along. What she does when she's single is her business, especially since she's been shown to be 100% faithful when in an actual relationship. Her drinking a lot isn't a problem because I like to drink too. To sum it all up, I'd totally be down to have Penny as a girlfriend. Not a lot of women are really raised to be deep into STEM subjects, so I don't expect every girl I pursue to be female Hawking. Beyond that, Penny's a caring, faithful, fun, sociable, whip-smart, sexy waitress and actress. I could do a lot worse, and so could Leonard. I love Penny. She's strong, capable, and self-confident. I hate Penny. Yep. She's probably the worst character in the show. I've been rewatching everything since the start and she's incredibly stupid, ignorant, and still entitled. I can't even count the number of times she's criticized and despised the geeky behavior of the group or just couldn't follow a reasoning that a middle school kid would get. Plus, she was probably the worst love interest to Leonard during the whole show. Dude deserved better. He really was too good for her. It's sad, to be honest. I don't hate her, but she was very mean to people, sometimes too self-loving. She thinks that because she's beautiful, she's a good person. Because she's beautiful, she would be better than the geeks, basically. And I also think the relationship with Leonard doesn't make sense. They don't really have anything in common. Even their interests are different. I can't recall a common one. She makes fun of all their hobbies and they are not interested in hers, except when it involves meeting girls and eventually get laid. It looks like both parties are having a bad time when they need to do something that the partner usually does. For example, Leonard hated the football session and Penny is bored of their games and hates the shows they watch. Also, I'm quite annoyed at the guys rooting for her because she's hot. Leonard basically is interested in her just because of that. If I remember well, when Leonard described her as his girlfriend to the others, he says she is hot or a sexy woman. He doesn't say she's fun, loving, or great. He just pictures her according to her looks. Okay, at some point, they seem to give her a bit more personality, like she's handy and funny. But still, the show is written on the basis that she's hot and it's mainly focused on that, at least at the beginning. I quite like how they made her evolved though. I prefer her when they let her show her insecurities, when she tried to learn science for Leonard, so it shows that she cares about him. I quite like that we can see they both try to make efforts to fit in each other's lives. I guess they really care about the other person, but I don't think that is enough to be happy if you don't share common interests. Penny from The Big Bang Theory is the definition of dumb and pretty at the same time street smart. She gave up on all her dreams. After Penny got married, her character lost her way. When she helped Sheldon, Leonard, Howard, and Raj get Sheldon's stuff back after Todd Zarnecki hacked his World of Warcraft account, she makes Leonard happy. Sometimes that's all that's necessary. Sheldon hugging Penny. Sheldon and Penny's love experiment. Penny comforting Sheldon. Penny helping Sheldon with a Fun with Flags video. When Penny was drunk and she filmed a video for Leonard saying, "I owe you a explanation." Oh, explanation. The best thing about The Big Bang Theory is watching Penny and Sheldon's relationship grow. She's actually a really great character. The expectation that she's a dumb blonde who's gonna take advantage of the guys is subverted. Yes, she accepts free food for them on occasion and had to once borrow money off from Sheldon, which she felt incredibly guilty about, and she returned, but she's also willing to learn about their likes and their world of being academics and nerds. Despite not liking most of their interests, she's always willing to listen, even if some of her responses are sarcastic. Despite how condescending Sheldon is to Penny and her entire personality, she finds a certain innocent quality in him and tries to put him in his place without being completely rude to him. It's very much a brother-sister kind of relationship. The amount of misogyny and harassment she had to put up with from Howard is pretty crazy in the earlier seasons. She mostly brushed it off until the time where she snapped and yelled at him, at which point she actually went to apologize for hurting his feelings, even though she didn't have to. I think she grew a lot from being friends with them and was always willing to learn new things, despite not being as smart as them. She would often watch their TV shows and listen to their debates on comic books and general nerd culture. It was really cool to see the relationship go between her and the guys. And then the girls grow on the show as well. Her two best friends became Bernadette and Amy, who were two very intelligent academics, which she really respected but understood she wasn't as smart as them. Every time Penny sings Soft Kitty to Sheldon and takes care of him, I love how caring she is. I thought she was mean sometimes, but so were all the other characters, and her facial expressions annoyed me, but after watching the show over and over, I get the character. There's no one character on the show to hate. Each character is flawed and fantastic. Penny was completely out of line when she barged in on Leonard and Priya's date. Not once since they had broken up, Penny ate from his plate. The audacity of Penny to get upset when Leonard brought it to her attention, shake my head. She was gaslighting him at that moment and was an annoying character during that entire season. Penny never deserved Leonard. I would never consider being in a relationship with someone like Penny, not because she's not intelligent, but because she has absolutely no standards. She'll hook up with any guy. She drinks like a fish, and she's excessively vain of herself, seen by her behavior with Leonard, even though she knows she's nowhere close to his level of intellect. I love The Big Bang Theory, but rewatching the earlier episodes pisses me off because Penny is playing with Leonard's feelings. Yeah, I know they end up getting married, but still, she didn't have to do all of that. Penny should have stayed married to Zach. Even though this was a marriage made out of pure stupidity, it would have made a lot more sense than Penny marrying Leonard. Why? Here are a few reasons. Zach may have been dumb as a lamppost, but he was a nice guy, and him being dumb would make Penny feel smarter. Zach was a good-looking, manly guy, and therefore would never feel insecure about being with Penny like Leonard did, or being told she's too hot for him. Despite being the less good-looking or confident of the couple, Leonard still cheated on Penny by making out with Mandy Chow. I'm sure Zach wouldn't do that. Zach would never laugh at Penny's superstition like Leonard did, and while driving on a date even. Since Zach found out he's infertile, he wouldn't have had a big problem with Penny not wanting children. In other words, he wouldn't be a rat crybaby about it like Leonard. Ha! And finally, a major factor. Penny dated Zach because she was physically attracted to him, unlike with Lenny. So we know, if nothing, they had no problems in the bedroom, unlike Penny and Lenny. Oh my goodness. Penny should have made Howard apologize. Howard objectified and sexualized her from the moment they met. She laid boundaries from day one and he just ignored them. He put a webcam in her apartment. That is a crime. He was disgusting in those early days. Penny was absolutely right to go off on him. People saying she went too far, telling him he was going to die alone, are wrong. She was pushed to her limits, and what she said was justified. She apologized, but he never did. In fact, he tried to kiss her. Penny was the villain in Sheldon's war. He had every right to be upset at her, and she had no right to be mad at him. First, she took an onion ring from him. Isn't that rude? And glutinous as well. Then she used Sheldon's Wi-Fi without compensation. Then she went out of her way to spoil his laundry night, and she knew how important his routines were to him. The only thing that Sheldon did wrong was to banish her. That was somewhat stern and cruel. Still, all she had to do was apologize, and that was too much for her to swallow. I really liked Penny less in the early seasons. She could really be annoying. Penny should have stayed childless. This always bothers me. Bernadette expresses she doesn't want to have kids and then has two back to back. And then Penny says she doesn't want kids and Leonard supports her. But then they have to end with a series with her pregnant. It's contrived, unoriginal, and dismissive of their previous wishes to remain child-free. It just feels like they erase aspects of the women on the show. Women cannot have kids and still matter and have value. Penny should have kept the short hair. Penny with short hair kind of slays though. Here is a fun conspiracy. What if Penny is Leonard's stalker? Hear me out. Penny reads Beverly's books, does research to find this needy kid, finds out the career and whereabouts of this needy kid. She's broke and wants a better life for herself, but she's a great actress. She moves in across the needy kid and uses the psychological patterns she learned from his mom's book to get him to fall in love with her. She knew she was beautiful, but she needed more since he's a smart man, so she used every tactic to mentally mess with Leonard. Try watching the show with this aspect. It made it a whole new show for me. Penny stole the guy's Bitcoin. In season 11, episode 9, the Bitcoin entanglement, we learned that the guys mined a lot of Bitcoin years back, and Bitcoins are now very valuable. Sheldon is mad that he was left out of the mining project, so he stole the Bitcoins and put them on Leonard's Batman's flash drive on his keychain. But Leonard says he lost that years ago, and we see Stuart finding the flash drive on the floor of his shop and deciding to wipe it and sell it. However, in season 10, Penny is gradually removing all of Leonard's collectibles and placing them into storage. But one of his things that she has taken and hidden is the Batman flash drive on his keychain. Penny's age. I'm rewatching The Big Bang Theory and still absolutely love it. But one thing that has been starting to bother me a little. Penny is 21 at the beginning and the guys, I think, are mid to late 20s. Penny also seems to go out with guys that are a lot older than her. Now, I'm not judging that. I just don't understand why the writers made this choice. Couldn't the plot be the same if she had been 23 or 24 at the start? I don't think that would really affect her storyline. She could have still been a struggling actress at that age, right? I think Penny would be on the TikTok app 24/7, scrolling her life away. What do you think? Did anything happen between Penny and Glenn? You know when Glenn, Bernadette's ex and college professor, gave Penny a ride back home from Big Sur? I wonder if anything was meant to happen there, but we never got to find out. I mean, I wonder if that was supposed to be a catalyst for a more awkward exchange between her and Leonard. Maybe it was meant to be, but then it was scrapped. Or maybe Rick Fox was only meant to be in one episode. I've seen this article about it where Glenn is presented as a good reserve boyfriend choice for Penny. I don't know about that, but one can always imagine the two of them being intimate. All we got instead was Amy's question to Leonard about him driving really fast. Fun fact, the reason Penny worked behind a bar for a bit was because she had a broken leg from a horse riding accident. That's why for 2 episodes, she's not on them. The episode where she gave Leonard the Long Island iced tea is one of them. The Big Bang Theory. Penny is not what she seems. Here's the theory. Penny from the Big Bang Theory is a spy from the CIA or NSA or some other shadowy government or agency. Here's the evidence. Her career and lifestyle. There are lots of struggling actors in Southern California working menial jobs to make ends meet. After a while of getting nowhere, they usually either become a character actor, do porn, which has been hinted at for Penny, but of course it never happens, or something else. That something else could be related to acting, but it is a little bizarre that Penny constantly gets absolutely nowhere in the industry and never thinks about her return on investment. She's taken acting classes but never got a part, headshots, or any of the work associated with being a professional actor and building an identity, reputation, and network in the industry. She did take some community college courses earlier this season, but again, it was taken as a joke. She's getting massive help from Bernadette and Amy. The truth is that Penny never wants to better herself, since that would complicate or destroy her cover. Computer and technology. Penny is seen using a laptop and the internet, even getting addicted to online gaming. Not once, at least from what she allows the guys to see, does she think to use this technology to her advantage in pursuit of her acting career, start a website, Twitter, post YouTube videos. She also steals the Wi-Fi from the guys, claiming to be too poor to afford her own. The truth is that it is much easier to monitor what they are doing online when they are all sharing the same connection. Her addiction to online gaming was a clever way to hover over Sheldon's shoulder as he would start the game, and maybe he played in a windowed mode, so that when he went to the bathroom, she could snoop even more directly. Friends, roommates, and other relationships. Before Amy and Bernadette were brought into the series as regulars, Penny was basically friendless outside the geek guys. She had a lot of boyfriends, mostly there to entice Leonard to make his move, and generic party friends, but nobody she confided in and nobody she moved out to California with. If she was really a struggling actress, she would want to make her paycheck stretch as far as possible, which would include getting a roommate or two. Not once has the landlord put up an eviction notice or a note that rent was late. There was an episode where her power was cut, but that can be simulated by flipping a switch in the circuit breaker. Penny doesn't have real money troubles because she's well taken care of. Why? In the staircase implementation, the origin story of Leonard and Sheldon's relationship is revealed, and why the elevator is broken, the explosion caused by Leonard, who just recently broke up with Joyce Kim, a North Korean spy. The truth is that explosion happening inside the elevator shaft probably garnered a couple of calls to the authorities, and although the local police may have dropped the case, the feds did not. They know that 2 scientists who routinely work on government projects live there, and may have even stumbled upon the relationship Leonard had with the North Korean spy. Leonard and Sheldon can't be prosecuted without revealing the secret rocket fuel, so the feds simply monitor them, and when they need more information, they send their best agent. Codename, Penny. Last name, not given. Penny is a self-defeating alcoholic. If we compare bubbly Penny in the first seasons to the more cynical girl full of sarcastic humor, there is a bit of correlation. But if you look at each individual episode, you realize that Penny drinks a lot. Also, for a lot of reasons, coping, Leonard's mother, courage to hook up with Leonard as an escape during Twister, she drinks far more than the girls. These are simply off the top of my head. She also glorifies her drinking. I normally just get drunk and ride the cable cars. The situation, I believe, is actually very dark. She's no longer in Nebraska. She fails at acting and has a self-defeating behavior in that regard. Her massive group of friends at the beginning of the series slowly dwindles, and she spends more and more time with the boys. People she doesn't identify with because they provide company and occasionally money or dinner. If you don't believe me, just watch how much she drinks. Perhaps she's Penny from Inspector Gadget as an adult. Could Penny be the Big Bang? A smart guy like you, it'll be like a challenge. You could make it like an experiment. You sign anything she puts in front of you because you are the luckiest man alive. I know Sheldon doesn't eat dessert on Tuesdays, and even if Raj wanted something, he couldn't tell me. Excuse me, the word is polish. See, small p. Your king is trapped. He can't go there because of my lighthouse. It's a string. How hard can it be? It's straight, it's in a loop, it gets knotted up with other strings. It might look more natural if you talk to me instead of the camera, like a real conversation. Well, your Ken can kiss my Barbie. In the olden days, I would have never known he was that stupid. They're gonna get beaten up at Walgreens. I don't know about despising the geeky behavior. She rolls her eyes a lot and it finds it boring, but it's just not her thing. What would have been worse is pretending to like things and try them and get free favors, etc. out of them. She's very honest about herself and doesn't try to trick, deceive, or berate them in a mean way. She isn't entitled either. She was foolish to believe she'd come to Los Angeles and become a famous actress so quickly, but she pays her way in life, works in a job she doesn't enjoy, and the only thing she gets off the guys is free food when she goes around and uses their Wi-Fi. She isn't stupid either. Just when you compare her to the guys, she comes across that way because they're much more intelligent than she is. We see this when they introduce Zach, who is genuinely unintelligent, but he's great. And you can see Penny is much smarter than him. And even she noticed that Zach doesn't have a lot going on upstairs. And I don't know where you work out, Leonard deserved better. Yes, in the beginning, maybe. She wasn't sure enough about her feelings to be in a committed relationship with him, but since she became a great wife to him. Leonard has cheated on her, spoke awfully about Penny being terrible with money to Sheldon, which is inappropriate. He wouldn't support her ambition and wanted to focus her time and energy to acting despite it being what she wanted, and lied to her and said he did believe in her. He was on more than one occasion implied that Penny is dumb and her life choices are terrible, has made fun of her drinking habits, and has made fun of her taste in men. The characters are all extremely psychologically damaged from their families and childhoods. Penny has always thought she was a dumb girl with a nice body, but Leonard always saw her as wonderful and special, and he welcomed her into his smart world. They both make barbs at each other, but it's in jest. They do truly love each other and are both lucky to have each other. I'm sure there's people who believe Sheldon didn't deserve Amy either, but the point is, any errors they make in treating each other are rooted in their severe emotional damage. I didn't like what they did with Penny's character overall. Seemed like she was always having her wants pushed to the side so the nerd could get the girl. The Big Bang Theory just keeps getting worse after season 3 for me. I'm rewatching it right now. The show's OG purpose was to show the audience there's no harm in being quirky, which then they try to remove altogether. I'm of the opinion that relationships messed up the Big Bang Theory. I love Penny, especially her and Sheldon's dynamic, and the normal element she adds to the group, but I don't want her to date Leonard or anyone else in the group. I don't really care much about the rest of the female cast except for the fact that they're distinguished in their respective fields, which again is just thrown aside most of the time because girls would rather be bored or talk about relationships. I think the show is just lost its original purpose when it messed up the four nerdy girls and Penny combo. How does Penny know nothing about Star Wars, Star Trek, Ghostbusters, Harry Potter, or any other remotely successful movie franchise of her time? It seems like she's missing a lot of history that would be helpful for an aspiring actress. It's not that she doesn't know about them. She seems to actively hold contempt for them and take pride in how little she knows about them. Like, all of those things are quite mainstream. She just comes off as Luddite as a result. If you have gotten to this part of the video, comment the wine emoji. I'll see you again next time. Tra-la-la.